Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Silver. This was sent to me by Bezier Games, and is designed by Ted Alspach. Now, I'm actually going to be going through not just Silver, but also they send a bunch of these standalone expansions, like Silver Coin, Silver Bullet, and Silver Dagger. They all play similarly, but I'll go through kind of like what the cards are in between each one. Let me show you how to play. So in Silver, you are trying to reduce your village's werewolf population using special abilities, including the Silver Amulet of Protection. The mayor with the fewest werewolves in their village at the end of the game wins. Now, if you saw my review for Scram, it's a similar system. At the beginning of the game, each player has 5 cards face down, and they can secretly view 2 of them. So let's say I look at these 2. Okay, so I see these 2. I put them back down. So you want to remove high numbers from your village because the number represent how many werewolves that card has. Now, cards have 2 functions. First, the number, like I said, represents how many werewolves are on it, which are bad. Second, each card displays a person with an ability. So this one is the Seer, which lets you view any one card. Some of them also have abilities when they're face up in your village, you can use them. So yeah, they all have different effects. We'll go through those later. On your turn, you can do one of the following 3 actions. You can either draw a card from the deck, or you can take a card from the discard pile, whichever one is on top, or you can call for a vote. So if you draw the top card, you have a couple options. So this one is the Revealer, 6 werewolves, and he can turn any one card face up. You can first play the card in the discard pile as your first option. So if I do that, then I would do the card's ability. In this case, turn any one card face up. So I might be like, all right, I'm going to play it. I'm going to reveal this card. Looks like it's the Rascal. Okay. So that player has a public card now. Or instead of doing that, let's say I draw a card, I could exchange one or more of my cards with the card I drew. So I looked at these cards at the beginning, and I know that this one is worse for me. So I could be like, okay, I'm going to take this card out, put this new card face down in front of me, and then this gets discarded into the discard pile. So that's one of the actions, which is draw a card, and you can either play it in this card or exchange it. Another action you could possibly do instead on your turn is take a card from the discard pile. So then you would take the top card and you exchange it with one or more of your cards with the card you drew. There is a possibility to exchange multiple cards. We'll get into that in a second. Now, at any point, if you have 4 or less cards in front of you, you may call for a vote. At that time, your turn ends, and each other player gets one more turn, and then the round ends, and then you will reveal. Now, I mentioned you could exchange multiple cards. So let's say I wanted to exchange for that 6 there. Now, what I would have to do is I would have to pick the cards I'm going to exchange. So let's say I do, I don't know, this one and this one. Then I have to reveal them. Now, this would have been a bad move because, as you can see, the cards do not match. If the cards do not match, you return them to your village, turning them face down, and then you add the new card at either end of the village. And it's face down as from the deck or face up from the discard pile. If you try to do 3 cards or more and they didn't match, you'd have to take an extra card from the deck as an extra penalty. So let's say I did it right. So let's say I put these 2 forward, I flip, they are the same, okay? Then what you would do, whatever card I was trying to replace it with, I would then take these cards and they would get discarded. All right, let's go through the cards' abilities because these are going to be the major differences between the sets. The Villager, and these are all in numerical order in terms of number of werewolves. When face up, if any other 0 is face up in any village, the round ends instantly. The Squire, when face up, display 1 card face up from the deck. Empath, when face up, view one of your face down cards on your turn. So this symbol down here, this tells you if this is face up in your village, you have that power. The Bodyguard, when face up, protect this and 1 other card from opponents. Rascal, when face up, draw 1 extra card from the deck. The Exposer, turn one of your cards face up. That's when you play it. Revealer, turn any one card face up. Beholder, view up to 2 of your cards. Apprentice Seer, view 1 card of an opponent. Seer, view any 1 card. Master, take any 1 card from the discard pile. Witch, view the top card from the deck and exchange it into any village. The Robber, steal 1 opponent's card and give them 1 of your cards. View your new card. Oh, I have 2 of them. And the Doppelganger. When discarding, this card matches 1 other card. So that can be kind of like a double. Now, whenever you view a card, you always have to put it back where you found it. And also, whenever a card replaces another card, it must go into the same spot. A lot of this is kind of like memorizing, because you have to memorize where they were in your village. Now, the round ends when 1 player is called for a vote, and each other player takes 1 more turn, or if the deck is depleted. Well, there's not a deck right now, but your score is the sum of all the cards in your village. However, if you called for a vote and you have the lowest sum, you score 0 points. If you called for a vote and do not have the lowest sum, then you score your sum plus 10 penalty points. You'll then write down everyone's score and add it to the sum of the rounds. This silver amulet will go on the side of the deck nearest to the player who scored the fewest points in the current round. If that player successfully called for a vote, then they take the silver amulet and pull it back towards themselves. That means they can use what's called the silver amulet in the next round. If the call was unsuccessful and there's a tie for the lowest score, the tied player who had the silver amulet keeps it. If they didn't score the fewest points, then the tied player... there's like different rules for where this goes, basically. Once you finish a round, play another. You shuffle all the cards in the deck, deal 5 cards to each player face down, and keep going. Now, this silver amulet, as part of your turn, if you have this, you can place it on one of the cards in your village. That card may not be viewed or moved by any player, including you, until the end of the round when it is scored as usual. Now, if you put it on a card with a face-up ability, you can still use the ability. You play 4 rounds, fewest points at the end wins. If there's a tie, whoever has the amulet wins. That is the gist of how the game plays, is you're trying to exchange cards, get your village total to the smallest possible, and use your abilities to kind of like force bad cards into other people's villages. So that is silver. That's silver. But now let me show you the other sets. This one is Silver Bullet. So this one comes with a deck and discard pile sort of little thing. You'll see why in a second. And this one comes with a Silver Bullet. So each set comes with a different sort of special item. How the Silver Bullet works is on your turn, you may place this bullet on one of the cards in your village. That card may not be viewed or moved by any player. At the end of the round, however, that card is not scored, which is interesting. Also, when you place this bullet on a card with a face-up ability, you cannot use that ability. It's essentially killing a card in your village. And in this one, the Hunter, when face-up at the end of the game, remove 1 card before scoring. This is a Lycan +1. When face-up, add 1 to the value of a card when discarded. Priest, when face up, flip one of your cards over. Goth Girl, when face up, discard 1 card to the bottom of the deck instead of the discard pile. The Mortician, when face up, activate one of your special ability discards. Cow, flip the deck over. So that one is interesting in that, in this case, you would flip it and now the cards are public. At least the top card is, which does make things interesting. Number 6, the Instigator, flip any card over. 7, the Insomniac, view all of your face-down cards. Thing, shuffle all face-down cards in any player's village. The Marksman, use the special ability of 1 face-up card in any village. The Count, move 10 cards from the deck to the discard pile. The Troublemaker, exchange 1 card from any player with 1 card from a different player. The Gremlin, turn this card face up and add it to any player's village. The Copycat, at scoring, this card is worth the lowest card in your village. So those are the cards for Silver Bullet. The next set is Silver Coin. The Silver Coin in this game, if you have it face up on head side up, as a result of successfully calling for a vote, you may flip over both the silver coin and any single card in any village. Once you've used it, it may not be used again that round. These cards, the Regifter, when face up at scoring, give one of your cards to an opponent. Con Artist, when face up, turn this card face down and take one additional turn. The Curator, when face up, rotate one of your cards 90 degrees or discard one of your 90-degree cards. Pixie, when face up, turn this card face down and turn over one other card. Blob, when face up, use the ability of the top card of the discard pile as your turn. Apprentice Tanner, put this card face up in your village, then turn over one other card. The Huntress, turn one card face down and turn one other card face up. Nostro, view all cards in one village. Assassin, discard one face-up card to the bottom of the discard pile. Psychic, view any 3 cards. Nosferatu, view the top 3 cards of the discard pile. Take or use the ability of one of them. Golem, exchange the top card of the discard pile with one village card. Place the village card at the bottom of the discard pile. Village Idiot, move one card from each village to its neighbor all in the same direction. And Wolfman, when face up at scoring, if the sum of all other cards in your village is less than 13, you score 0 points. And finally, we have Silver Dagger. This set has a private deck marker. We'll go into that in a second. And this one also comes with the Silver Dagger. How the Silver Dagger works is you may turn the dagger so that it faces in the opposite direction and also flip it over. At that time, then, play will proceed in the opposite direction. So if it was clockwise, now you're going counterclockwise. So that is how this bonus token works. Also, when you have your 5 cards in this set, this private deck token will go here because you'll also be keeping cards here as your own private deck. And the cards in this one, Debt Collector, when face up at scoring, subtract 1 point for each card in all other villages. Spy, when face up, view one face down card in any other village. Halfling, when face up at scoring, have some of your cards rounded up. Sentinel, when face up, no other player may switch, remove, or add cards to your village. Zombie, when face up, you may flip this card face down and place it in the previous player's village. This card may never be placed on top of the discard pile. Approximator, keep this card in your village face up after drawing instead of discarding it, then discard any 2 cards. Flipper, flip over all cards in any village. Elusive Seer, view cards until you see one with a value of 4 or lower, then turn that card face up. Magician, turn one card face up in another village and either use its ability or switch it for one of your cards. The Mystic Seer, view any 2 cards. Renfield, add the top card of the deck to the top of your private deck. Reverser, change direction of play. Master Thief, view one face down card in any village and switch it for one card in any other village. And Furry, at scoring, if your sum equals 50, score 0 for your cards, and all other players add 50 to their sum. And those are the cards for that. So, like I told you, the private deck, the Renfield, this is kind of like a way to add cards to the top of your private deck, and they're nice because only you can draw from that deck. And that's all the sets I was given. You can mix and match them. But yeah, I'm going to go into it after this. Which sets I liked best. So this is very similar to Scram, which I reviewed back in episode 268. It's just not like a team version like that game is. I think in all of these games, the silver pieces are really nice to look at, but they don't feel that essential to me. Overall, the flow of the game is still fun, similar to Scram, making your matches and swapping them out, slowly gathering information about your cards and other people's cards. It's all quite fun in general. The sets themselves, however, differ in quality. The base game Silver, or Silver Amulet, is a good introduction. The cards aren't too crazy. It's a standard yet elegant introduction to how the game works. Silver Coin was the group's favorite. This one definitely had the most interesting abilities, and it felt like a lot of them synergized well together. You could even set up very interesting combos. Wolfman felt like a very balanced 13 card in that there's suitable risk and reward for it. And the overall theme of flipping felt very strong throughout and was really engaging. Silver Bullet is a lot wackier, but it's still fun. I don't think it's as strong as the base set, but the wacky cards like the cow that flips the deck, or the count which just discards 10 cards to make the round faster, those were entertaining cards. Silver Dagger was our least favorite, and the one I actually would not recommend. Not only did it not feel cohesive as a theme, like mechanics-wise or a game, it felt like these cards just did not go with each other very well. But a lot of the cards were actively irritating and or convoluted. The Debt Collector card is just too OP. Actually, I should get the cards and show you these. So yeah, Wolfman from Silver Coin. This one felt really balanced. You know, when face up at odd scoring, if the sum of all other cards in your village is less than 13, you score 0. There was like an interesting risk and reward element to that. And so out of the non-standard sets, Silver Coin is the one I would recommend the most out of all the sets. And then going back to Silver Dagger, showing you some of these cards. So Debt Collector, when face up at scoring, subtract 1 point for each card in all other villages. This was too OP, because especially in this set, we found it a lot harder to get rid of cards. The Sentinel card, where no other players may switch, remove, or add cards to your village when face up, is way too powerful. It feels like significant power creep, because in the base set, the Bodyguard is just like a weaker version of this. The Zombie was one that we just absolutely hated. It feels like it gets in the way, because this one says, when face up, you may flip this card face down and place it in the previous player's village. This card may never be placed on top of the discard pile. It is so annoying, because it just gets in the way of a core mechanic of the game. It's not fun. Just a huge pain. And then a card like the Approximator, where it's keep this card in your village face up after drawing instead of discarding it, then discarding 2 cards. Way too powerful. Just, the complaints could just go on and on. So cards were either too powerful or too weak. The balancing felt off. This was a really significant downgrade, Silver Dagger. Overall, though, I think Silver is fun. If you want a more cutthroat, less collaborative version of Scram, I would recommend getting the base set and Silver Coin. Silver Bullet can add some fun, wacky flavor if you want it, but Silver Dagger I would just do a hard pass on. But overall, I do think the game is fun.